Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mario Cristobal, the Miami Hurricanes, set to host another monster recruiting weekend over the next couple of days. I want to dive into the visitor list and talk about some of my favorite prospects that will be on campus for the Miami Hurricanes over the next couple of days. Extremely excited to get into this one, a loaded visitor list for the Miami Hurricanes. Before we do, and as always, just want to say, thank you to you guys and a massive shout out to the Miami Hurricane fans. Y'all know I love talking the recruiting trail. Y'all know I love talking about the Miami Hurricanes on the recruiting trail. Cannot thank you guys enough for all the support you guys have shown, whether we're breaking down commitments, talking about top prospects. The support you guys show is absolutely unbelievable. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And if we get commitments over the weekend, we'll be breaking them down. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I want to start with one of my pure favorite prospects in this 2025 class. And I think largely the top prospects for the Miami Hurricanes in this 2025 cycle. Five-star defensive back, DJ Pickett. Two things that really stand out. One, when you start looking at some boxes that you want to see checked from defensive backs at the high school level, many of you guys know, I look, for three things. I look for one, the length. DJ Pickett at 6'2", 170, a ton of length in the arms, certainly checks that box. The next thing I look for is ball skills. This is a guy that is an absolute ball hawk, whether he's playing that boundary cornerback spot, whether he's playing that safety spot. With the size and the length that he has, he is so comfortable going up and tracking the football and making a play on it. And the last thing is speed. This is a guy with the track background, one of the fastest players in that defensive back class. I mean, DJ Pickett just checks box after box after box with what you want in a defensive back. And again, the versatility is very intriguing for DJ Pickett. I think he can be an All-American caliber safety, but he also can be an All-American caliber cornerback, and you can get him into this program, kind of figure out where he slots and where he's going to most impact this roster and put him in that spot. The versatility, the physical talent, it's all there for DJ Pickett. There's a reason that every program in the country wants DJ Pickett, and there's a reason that the Hurricanes are going after DJ Pickett as hard as they are. Now, the next two prospects I want to talk about is at the running back spot. Now, we broke down Gerard Pringle Jr. committing to Miami last weekend, and we kind of said Gerard Pringle Jr. was a burner, right? This was a guy that's one of the fastest running backs in that 2025 class, a little bit undersized, and we kind of said, I wouldn't be surprised if the Miami Hurricanes go after two running backs in that class. That's normally what they do. And you look at what kind of running back do you want to bring in to kind of complement a guy like Pringle. There's two guys that it seems like the Miami Hurricanes are really going to be making a push for. One is Byron Lewis. This is a guy from American heritage who I think really does perfectly complement what Pringle does. Pringle, an absolute burner. A guy like Lewis is between the tackles. He's got a really thick lower half. When you turn on the film, what's most impressive is, one, the feel that he has for the position. This is a guy that just picks through traffic extremely well, has really good shake at the second level, but my favorite attribute is the contact balance, right? At 5'11", 200 pounds, he absorbs contact, bounces off tacklers, runs extremely physical. I think he would be a perfect complement to a guy like Pringle. You got your speedster and a guy like Pringle that you want to get to the perimeter. And then you have your guy that probably is going to be a more of the bell cow potentially in this Hurricanes running back room, but a guy that can get it done between the tackles. His average 7.6 yards per carry during his high school career. Massive fan of the film of Byron Lewis. Now, the next running back is Elvin Henderson, who again is a very exciting running back. And when you talk about Elvin Henderson, it starts with the production that he's had at the high school level in the state of Alabama. During his high school career, these numbers are truly staggering. 7,200 yards, averaging 13.6 yards per carry. I haven't seen a running back coming out of high school with that yards per carry mark in my life. Extremely productive. He's a workhorse at the high school level, and a guy that, shows a lot of good things, and you kind of just trust the production that he has had at the high school level. Now, me personally, I know there's a lot of people that like Elvin Henderson. I love Elvin Henderson. That being said, I kind of lean Byron Lewis in this class just because I think he balances what Pringle does very, very well. And I think he kind of fits how the Miami Hurricanes want to run the football between the tackles with physicality. At the end of the day, you can't really go wrong with either Byron Lewis or Alvin Henderson. And I think that there's a little bit of pressure for one of these two to commit because Miami's probably not going to take 3 running backs. So if you want to go to the Miami Hurricanes and be their running back, you probably got to commit before the other guy does. So interested to see if we get a commitment rather soon from either of these running backs. Now, the next position group that I want to talk about, and again, this is probably where it starts for me and why I've been so optimistic about where the Miami Hurricanes are going, is they are really focusing on the defensive line. I've already been very vocal that I think the Hurricanes have one of, if not the best defensive line in the country heading into 2024, and they're getting it done on the recruiting trail. And Mario Cristobal is clearly putting a strong emphasis along the line of scrimmage, right? You think back to last year, guys like Justin Scott, Armando Blunt. You look at this class, they are turning it up for a lot of top defensive linemen. Jesse Harold from Tampa, Florida is a very interesting prospect too. The frame kind of reminds you of a guy like Booker Pickett coming out of high school, where extremely long, a ton of juice coming off the edge, but a little bit lighter. It needs to fill out that frame. This is a guy that when you turn on the film, you probably think that the physical traits are better than the production so far, but a guy that I think has a ton of upside, and it is very clear that Jason Taylor and the staff are valuing upside on the defensive line. Hey, give us the guys with the elite caliber traits. We'll get them coached up into elite football players, but we want guys that have the upside that is extremely high. A guy like Jesse Harold, certainly one of those guys. The next edge rusher I want to talk about, and a very intriguing prospect from the state of Ohio. As a Michigan fan, would love to see Justin Hill in Ann Arbor. This is a guy that he kind of plays a hybrid. You see him play off-ball linebacker. You see him blitz off the edge. This is a guy that has a ton of juice coming off the edge, has clocked an 11.6 100-meter dash, and that track time shows up on the film. And that's something that we talk about a lot in the sense that, all right, it's nice to have those really impressive track times. Are you taking that speed on the track and putting it on the football field? Justin Hill and his burst off the line of scrimmage, how he can attack tackles on that outside shoulder, is clearly there. Like, you turn on the film, you know he can run track. And a guy like Justin Hill, whether he's playing off-ball linebacker, whether he's playing that edge role, is a guy that is a very intriguing prospect. And I'm a fan of these kind of guys. Like, you get them on the campus, you figure out where they're going to slot into this Miami Hurricanes roster, but bet on these athletic profiles, and it's probably going to work out in the end. I say this all the time. The game of football, it's a collision sport. It's a height, weight, speed game. You want to get guys that are big, strong, fast. Justin Hill, one of those guys, whether he's playing off-ball linebacker, whether he's coming off the edge, whether he's doing a little bit of both. Get this guy on campus, figure out the rest later. Now, the last 2025er I want to talk about is Cortez Smith, who, I mean, you see him play all over the offensive line. This is a guy that plays offensive tackle in the state of Georgia. You also see him get some reps at center. And the thing that you talk about with Cortez Smith and why I love this fit with the Miami Hurricanes, he's a road grader. This is a guy that was, second place in the state of Georgia in the shot put. And again, you see those track numbers show up and manifest himself on the field. A ton of power in his hands. He is a guy that just with ease moves people off the line of scrimmage, a really nice athlete for his size as well. I like two things. One, I think he can play tackle at the next level. I think he can play guard or center. This is a guy that can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. And when you start talking about, hey, we got to get our best 5 offensive linemen on the field, having guys that can be versatile and allow you to get those best 5 on the field certainly helps. It's always tough when you have a really good tackle that can play guard. And if you have 2 good tackles, well, you're not playing that really good tackle at the guard spot. Cortez Smith can easily kick into guard, can play center, and really allow you to get those best 5 on the field for the Miami Hurricanes. And the last name I want to mention in the 2026 class is quarterback Noah Grubbs. And this is a position that I'm kind of paying attention to the Miami Hurricanes. Now, I really do like nickel in the 2025 class, but I think a lot of the Miami Hurricane fans would like to see a little bit more success recruiting the quarterback position from the high school ranks. A guy like Noah Grubbs has offers from all over the country. Ohio State just offered him the other day. 6'4", 205, hasn't necessarily produced at the highest level, at the high school level yet. But this is a guy that when you turn on the film, the traits, the talent level is certainly there for Noah Grubbs. This is about the time that you start turning it up for your quarterbacks in the 2026 class. A guy like Diabell, another guy that I'm a massive fan of for the Miami Hurricanes. I think a lot of Miami fans would like to see the Hurricanes grab a top-end quarterback in this 2026 class. Those are some of my favorite prospects that will be on campus. But at the end of the day, you're seeing the Hurricanes do pretty much exactly what they did last cycle. And that is, hey, we're going to get as many guys on campus as we can in the spring and summer months, start building those relationships, and then we're going to close on them in December, right? That's exactly what happened with Miami last cycle. I think that's exactly what's going to happen this cycle as well. You cast a really big net, you're going to get a lot of fish, right? I think that's kind of the take that Mario Cristobal has on the recruiting trail. Really excited to see how this recruiting weekend goes. Again, top talent from all over the country coming on campus. Appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If there's any commitments over the next couple of days, we'll be breaking them down. Can't thank y'all enough for rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy it, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.